Let's talk about the parable of the Good Samaritan. The question this parable raises is, who is my neighbor? This can be seen as only our next-door neighbor. Or if you see with global eyes, it can be someone halfway around the world. We like to limit our responsibility, and our exposure, and any threat to us. And it is true, our world today is much more violent and criminal in nature than the world of Jesus' day. Even in the 1960s my family would take car trips and sleep by the side of the road. Doing this today you run the risk of being robbed or even killed. First, Jesus talks about a priest and a Levite who would not help the person in need. They are both authorities and workers in the church. They are the ones seen as being honorable, with high character and a sense of responsibility. But they don't respond to their neighbor in need. They didn't see him as such because he didn't live next door to them. Thus he wasn't a real neighbor then by their definition. Then there was the despised Samaritan. He did stop and help the man. Jesus speaks of having eyes to see. We tend to not see others in need. We don't have to take them home with us and put our family at risk, but we can help them in some way, give them money, or encourage them or pray for them. I've never encountered someone beat up and laying helpless before me, and I hope I never do see this. But this was the way the man in the parable was. But I do often see folks in need around me. Of course I do, and so do you. One thing the gospel does for us is the fact that we see everyone as an equal. The gospel is called the great equalizer. There is nothing to separate us, age, sex, race, position, education, title, or anything else. A child in the gospel, who has reached the age of reason, is equal to someone who has attended church for 50 years. At least this is true in the eyes of God, so it should be true in our eyes too. We are all one at the foot of the cross of Jesus. We are all neighbors. And Jesus himself is the Good Samaritan. He gave himself totally for our salvation. He says, "As you do it to the least of these, you do it unto me." The gospel causes us to reach out to others in love, even as Jesus loves us. The truth is that the gospel empowers everything in our lives. It's the blessing and power of God. So, if the gospel is active in us, loving other people, and being a good Samaritan comes much more easily. Living in gospel belief is a very powerful, blessed way to live. These gospel parables are only one part of several parts of this site, thegospelcoach.com.